Have you ever held something in your hands that felt impossible to let go of? Maybe it's an old photograph, a birthday card from decades ago, or a piece of jewelry you haven't worn in years but can't bring yourself to part with. You tell yourself, it's just a thing, but deep down you know, it's more than that. It's a piece of your story. But what if holding on too tightly is quietly holding you back? This is Reset for Seniors, and today, we're talking about one of the hardest challenges after 65. Decluttering sentimental items without feeling regret. Stay with me until the end, because the truth about what these items mean, and what happens when we finally let them go, might surprise you. Meet Helen. She's 65, retired, and lives in a small but cozy apartment in the heart of the city. Her walls are lined with framed photos, her shelves filled with souvenirs from trips she once took with her late husband. Every item has a memory, every object, a story. When her daughter suggested she lighten things up and maybe get rid of a few things, Helen smiled politely, but her chest tightened. The thought of parting with those belongings felt like saying goodbye all over again. But something started to shift. One evening, while dusting the same old figurines she'd had since her 20s, she noticed how cluttered the apartment felt. Not just physically, but emotionally. It wasn't just about space. It was about what she was carrying inside. Maybe you felt that too. That quiet heaviness in your home, as if the things around you are whispering stories of the past so loudly that you can't quite hear your present. The truth is, we often keep things not because we need them, but because we fear forgetting the people and moments tied to them. We're scared that if we let go of the item, the love or the memory will disappear too. But that's not true. The memory is in you, not in the thing. And here's something most people never realize until it's too late. Clutter has a way of stealing your energy. It hides in corners and drawers, turning comfort into quiet stress. But clearing it, mindfully, not hastily, can feel like opening a window you didn't know was shut. Helen decided to take one small step. She picked a single box labeled keepsakes. She sat at her kitchen table, sunlight spilling over the lid, and opened it slowly. Inside were old letters, ticket stubs, and a broken wristwatch that hadn't ticked in 20 years. Her first instinct was to close the box again, but something stopped her. She whispered to herself, "I'll keep the memories, but I don't need to keep all the things." For each item, she asked herself 3 questions. Does this bring me peace or sadness? Would I remember this moment even if I didn't have the object? And, most importantly, would keeping this help me move forward, or keep me in the past? That one exercise changed everything. Imagine doing this for yourself. Just one drawer, one shelf, one box at a time. No pressure, no guilt. You're not erasing the past, you're making space for the next chapter. But here's where most people get stuck. That voice of guilt that says, "What if I regret this later?" That fear of throwing away something your kids might want. Or worse, something that feels like your identity. But here's the truth your future self wants you to know. You don't lose who you are when you let go of what no longer serves you. You find who you've become. So, if you're listening to this right now, and you feel that tug between your heart and your hands, know this. Decluttering sentimental items isn't about losing your memories. It's about honoring them. Think of it this way. The most important things don't live on your shelves. They live in your stories, your laughter, and the people who love you. As Helen continued sorting through her belongings, she began to notice something magical. With every item she released, her apartment felt lighter, and so did she. She donated her late husband's old books to a local library, passed down a cherished necklace to her granddaughter, and framed just one special photo instead of 20. Her daughter visited a few weeks later and gasped, "Mom, your place looks beautiful." Helen smiled, looking around at her simplified space. "It feels like I can breathe again," she said. Decluttering isn't just about letting go. It's about reclaiming energy, peace, and freedom. And here's the secret. You don't have to do it all at once. Start with one small area. Take a deep breath before you begin. And for every item you release, take a moment to whisper thank you for the joy it once gave. If you've ever felt trapped by your belongings, remember, your memories live in your heart, not in your drawers. But don't wait too long. Too many people keep putting it off, thinking they'll deal with it someday. The problem is, someday never comes. And then your things tell your story for you, without you getting to choose how it ends. Make the choice now, while it's still your choice. You don't have to do this alone. There are wonderful community groups, senior centers, and even local charities that help with mindful decluttering. And sometimes, the best gift you can leave your loved ones isn't a house full of objects. It's the peace of knowing you lived simply, fully, and freely. So take this as your sign. Don't let the past fill your present. Let your home tell the story of who you are now, not just who you were. And if you're ready to begin, start small. One memory at a time. You'll be amazed how much lighter you'll feel when your space starts to reflect your peace. Helen found something she didn't expect when she let go of those old things. She found herself again. Her home wasn't emptier. It was finally alive. And maybe, that's what your next chapter is waiting for too. This is Reset for Seniors, where we remind you that every season of life can be a beautiful new beginning. If this message touched you today, don't leave just yet, because your next chapter starts with a single decision. Tap that like button if you believe it's never too late to make room for peace. Share this video with someone who needs the courage to let go. And subscribe to Reset for Seniors for more stories that help you rediscover your strength, your joy, and yourself. You've carried love your whole life. It's time to carry it a little lighter. Sometimes, letting go isn't about saying goodbye, it's about saying thank you. Helen realized this one quiet afternoon as she stood in her living room, surrounded by boxes. The city hummed faintly outside her window, a soft reminder that life kept moving forward. She picked up a delicate porcelain bird, one she'd bought on her honeymoon decades ago. The tiny figurine had survived 3 moves, 2 pets, and a lifetime of memories. She smiled and whispered, "You've done your part," before gently wrapping it in tissue paper, not to hide it away, but to give it to someone who would love it next. That's when something clicked. Decluttering wasn't about losing the past. It was about passing joy forward. And here's the thing most people never realize. Every time you let go of something you once loved, you make space for something new, new laughter, new energy, new stories. But far too many seniors never get to feel that freedom. They wait, telling themselves, "I'll sort through it later," until later becomes never. If you're watching this right now, this message is for you. Don't wait until your stuff starts making decisions for you. Because the truth is, every item you keep holds a little bit of your energy. And when your home is overflowing, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. Helen learned that lesson the day she couldn't find an important document under piles of keepsakes. That moment of frustration led her to tears, not because she'd lost something physical, but because she realized how much she was holding on to emotionally. That night, she made a promise to herself, "I will honor my past, but I won't live in it." So she created what she called the memory box. One simple box, that's it. Inside, she kept a few precious things: her wedding ring, one letter from her husband, a photo of her kids, and her mother's old recipe card. Just the things that made her heart warm instantly. Everything else, she released. She didn't throw them away in guilt. She thanked them for their place in her story. And then, she let them go. What if you tried that too? One box. Just one. Not everything has to stay. Not everything has to go. When Helen shared this idea with her friends at the senior center, something amazing happened. One woman started crying. Another said, "I've been too scared to touch my late husband's closet for 10 years. But they all agreed, it was time. Because letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing peace. Here's something you can try today. Pick 3 items that make you emotional. Hold each one. Close your eyes. Ask yourself, does this remind me of love or loss? If it's love, maybe keep it in your memory box. If it's loss, maybe it's time to let it rest. And remember, it's okay to cry while you do this. It means you're healing. When Helen finally finished decluttering, her apartment felt different. The air seemed lighter. Sunlight bounced off the walls like it hadn't in years. Her daughter came to visit again, and instead of feeling guilty about what she'd let go of, Helen felt proud. "I kept the love," she said with a smile, and let go of the weight. That's the beauty of starting over. You're not losing anything. You're finally making room for peace. But here's the urgency part that too many people ignore. If you don't take control of your memories now, someone else will have to someday. And they won't know which things meant the most to you. Decluttering now isn't selfish. It's a gift. A gift of clarity, love, and freedom. Not just for you, but for your family. And maybe the most powerful part? When you declutter, you're not just tidying your home. You're cleansing your heart. Imagine waking up tomorrow, walking into your living room, and feeling only calm, not clutter. Imagine sitting with a cup of tea, surrounded by only the things that truly matter. Imagine knowing that your home finally reflects you now, not just who you used to be. That's not just decluttering. That's renewal. And it starts today. If this story speaks to you, don't scroll past. Hit that like button, not for the algorithm, but to remind yourself, I'm ready to make space for peace. And if you know someone who's struggling to let go, a parent, a friend, or even yourself, share this video. Because you never know whose heart needs this gentle reminder. Subscribe to Reset for Seniors for more stories like Helen's. Stories that remind us that aging doesn't mean fading. It means refining, simplifying, remembering what truly matters. Your home tells your story. Make sure it's telling the one you want to live. Helen's story isn't just hers. It's ours. Because whether you're 65 or 85, we all carry things that no longer serve us. But here's the truth. You are not your stuff. You are your memories, your strength, your kindness, and none of that can be boxed away. So, before you move on from this video, take a deep breath. Look around the room you're in. Pick one item that no longer fits your present, and thank it for what it gave you. Then, let it go. That's how you start again, not by forgetting, but by freeing your heart to live lighter. This is Reset for Seniors, reminding you that life doesn't end when the clutter clears. It begins. If this touched you, leave a comment below, I'm ready to reset. Because that simple line might be the encouragement another senior needs to start too. You've spent your life collecting moments. Now, it's time to collect peace. Days after Helen finished her final box, she woke up before sunrise. The light streaming through the curtains seemed gentler, somehow clearer. She brewed her morning coffee, sat in her favorite chair, and looked around her apartment. For the first time in years, there was space to think, to breathe, to dream. She picked up her notebook and wrote, "Today feels lighter." She didn't know it then, but that small line would change how she saw her home forever. Helen began inviting people over again. A neighbor she hadn't spoken to in months stopped by and said, "Your place feels so peaceful, Helen. What did you do?" She smiled softly. "I let go of what didn't belong anymore." And that's when Helen realized, peace is contagious. The friends who visited began asking her for advice. "How did you decide what to keep? Didn't it hurt to let go?" Helen told them, "It did at first. But now, I only live with the things that make me smile." One of her friends, a widower named Charles, laughed and said, "I've got a garage full of memories I'm scared to face." Helen looked him in the eye and said, "Start with one shelf. Just one." That's the secret, isn't it? We think it has to be all or nothing. But real change starts with one decision, one corner, one drawer. And if you're listening right now, maybe you've been waiting for the perfect moment to start your own reset. Maybe you've looked around your home and felt both comfort and overwhelm at the same time. You don't have to do it all today, but you do have to start. Because if you wait too long, the clutter starts making decisions for you. That's the part no one talks about. The regret of realizing too late that you never got to decide what stayed and what went. Don't let that be your story. You have the chance, right now, to take back control of your space and your story. Helen's daughter came by a week later with a small box. Inside was the porcelain bird Helen had donated. Somehow, it had ended up at a local charity event, and her daughter bought it back without realizing it was her mother's. "Mom," she said, "this looked like something you'd love." Helen laughed through tears. Maybe it was meant to find its way back. But this time, Instead of putting it back on the shelf, Helen placed it by the window. "I'll keep you here," she whispered, "not because I have to, but because I choose to." And that's the difference between holding on out of love and holding on out of fear. If you're feeling that tug in your heart, wondering if it's time to finally go through your own boxes, take this as your sign. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until someone else has to do it for you. Because when you let go of what no longer fits your life, you make room for what does. And here's the best part. You don't lose the memories when you declutter. You bring them forward. You get to live them again, but this time, without the weight. So today, after this video ends, look around your home. Choose one small thing to begin with. Maybe a drawer. Maybe a closet. Maybe just that one item you've been avoiding. Hold it. Remember it. Thank it. Then release it. That moment, simple as it sounds, is the start of a new chapter. Because decluttering isn't really about your house. It's about your heart. Every time you clear space, you're creating room for joy to move back in. Helen noticed that after her reset, new memories started filling the space she once guarded so tightly. She hosted her book club again. She began painting, something she hadn't done since her 20s. Her home was no longer a museum of the past. It was a canvas for the present. And maybe that's the real purpose of letting go. To give yourself permission to start living again. If you've watched this far, it means part of you already knows it's time. Don't ignore that feeling. That's your future self calling. Imagine walking into a space that feels peaceful, uncluttered, alive. Imagine knowing that everything you see brings you comfort, not pain. That's not just possible, it's waiting for you. So here's your gentle challenge from Reset for Seniors. Start today. Not next week. Not when you feel ready. Because waiting for the perfect moment is just another way to stay stuck. Take one photo of your progress, your first cleared shelf, your first organized drawer. And when you're ready, come back to this video and tell us in the comments, "I've started my reset." Your words might inspire someone else to do the same. Because this isn't just a story about Helen. It's about every senior who's ever looked at a lifetime of memories and wondered how to let go without losing themselves. The answer is simple. You don't lose yourself, you find yourself. The truth is, life after 65 can be the most freeing, peaceful time if you allow it to be. But it begins with choice. Not the choice to forget, but the choice to live lighter. Helen still keeps her memory box. Sometimes she opens it, looks inside, and smiles. But now, when she closes it, she doesn't feel sadness. She feels gratitude. She's learned that the best parts of life aren't in what we hold, but in what we share, what we release, and what we open ourselves up to next. So, if you take one thing away from this video, let it be this. Your memories are yours to keep, but your clutter is yours to change. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need fancy storage bins. You just need the courage to begin. This is Reset for Seniors, a space where stories remind us that growing older isn't about losing time. It's about gaining wisdom, clarity, and peace. If this video spoke to your heart, don't just move on to the next one. Do something with it. Tap the like button if you're ready to reset your space. Subscribe if you believe it's never too late to start over. And share this with a friend or parent who needs a gentle reminder that freedom begins one small choice at a time. You've spent your life collecting love, memories, and lessons. Now, it's time to collect peace. So go ahead, take a deep breath, look around, and start your reset today. You deserve to live lighter.